Here we go. All right, so brief review. If I have a list with hello, oops. Okay, with 5 strings, how do I? Oh wait, skipped a page. Thank you. How do I find the index of who? Anyone remember? Ezra? Josh, can you close the door, please?
I don't think it's random, but it's something the index.
Yes, it is something dot index. List one dot index, is that it?
No.
Yep, then we need to type in who. So what this does again is it searches list 1 for the index of who, which is 0, 1, 2. Mr. Popular over there. It's okay. Does that make sense? If I do list 1 dot index howdy, what do I get? I do get an error, and it's saying value error. Just means it's not in there.
Will we ask what type of error it is?
No, no. Probably not. I don't think so. It's just an error. Okay, so let's say howdy's not in there. I want to add howdy, but I want it to go in between hello and world. I want to be hello howdy world. How do I do that? Does anyone remember? We need to insert it somewhere. So what method do you think we need to use? Remember, if you type in a list and you hit dot period dot and you wait, a list shows up. These are all the things you can do with a list, and we're going to learn most of them.
Insert.
Insert, yes. Now, do you guys know the 2 parameters I need to give to this method?
Probably need to give what you're putting in.
Yep.
Where? Oh, so you need to do a range? No, you need to do the index.
The index. I don't need brackets for this one, Mikey.
Won't it shift everything?
It scoots everything over.
Okay.
So where do I want howdy to be? If I want it to be in between hello and world, it needs to be index of 1. Hello, howdy world. How are you? Oh, that was supposed to be how. Oh no, who are you? And if I just want to throw something at the end, what can I do? There's a different method instead of insert that's a little simpler. All I want to do is add it to the end of the list. Peter?
Can't you just add it using the plus?
I can. List 1 plus equals list 1 plus, and I can then do what's up. But there's another actual method I can use. Append, and then I can go, hey, and so now we got heya at the end. Any questions on that? Now, just so you guys know, if you try to append, so let's say x is 10, and you x dot append 10, you get what's called an attribute error. There are certain things that there are certain methods you can only do to certain variables, certain data types. What this is saying is that I cannot append something to an integer. So you'll get that if you try to do that. So if you're getting this attribute error, that means whatever is here, whatever is before the dot append, is not a list. So you've either mistyped a variable, or you're just using the wrong one, or you've accidentally changed your list from a list to something else. So maybe you originally had list 2 is that, but then somewhere in your code you accidentally have it do this. So you've changed it from a list to a string. So that's just what that error means. Same thing with insert. All right, I can't insert hey into a string. And then last little bit of review, I want to remove what's up. I can't do del list 1 and then what? The index. What's the index of it, David?
Which one are we trying to make?
I'm trying to get rid of what's up.
6.
Yep, you could also have done -2 because this is -1, -2 index. Now, if I don't want to use indexes, list 1 dot remove, and I want to remove howdy. So either one of those will work. In your homework, you can choose which one you want to do, and I give you that hint. Remove gives you fewer lines of code than delete, because with delete you have to define the indexes and keep track of what index you're on, whereas remove you can just say, hey, remove this thing if it's this type thing. Okay, so let's say, actually let's do this for oh, I wonder if I can do that. No. Nope, can't do it that way. Rex in range 10 nums dot append random dot rand int 0 1.
An extra like detached chair in here.
A detached chair?
Yeah, not like a one-piece desk, but like a chair.
No, the closest thing I have is the stools. Or the chair I'm sitting in, but you can't have that.
No, I can't. Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
So now I have 10 items in this list randomly generated from 1 to 1,000. Okay? I would like to sort these. It's very easy. We've done this before where we said for lm in nums if lm is greater than our smallest number. You guys remember that assignment? Yeah? Hopefully. What you can do is you can do nums.sort and it does it for you. Notice it totally rewrites and reorders nums. It's not temporary. Oops. Okay, so here we go. Here's another, boom. Here's another new list. If we do nums sorted equals nums.sort, nothing's showing up. So it's not something that you can store. It just does something to it. It's just like deleting. We wouldn't say x equals delete this, right? Would you guys put a command like that to a variable? No, there's really only 5 things you can put to a variable. Who can tell me what they are? This is basic review. Ezra, give me one.
String.
A string. Mikey, give me another one.
Float.
A float.
An integer.
An integer. A list. And a boolean. That's it. You guys don't ever need to put X is print. X is delete. X is,
True, false.
yep, boolean's true and false. You guys never have to do any of that. So you guys also never need to do variable equals list1 dot method. Right? You never need to do that. You should your variable should only be those 5 things or an input. But that's left up to the user. Does that make sense? You guys should never have something like this. Well, that's not true. For now, actually, no, you're good. So you guys don't need to do nums.sort because notice nothing's happening. What it's technically doing is it's sorting the list again. And we don't want that. But notice it does sort from smallest to biggest. What if you want it from biggest to smallest? Nums.sort, and then you just type reverse is true. So what this does is it sorts it from lowest to biggest if you just have sort. If you have sort with reverse is true, it does it biggest to smallest. You cannot sort numbers and letters. You can list, you can sort A, F, no, Z, X, and I. Words.sort. So it'll sort just letters or it will sort just numbers. You can't mix the two.
Type words. And that's
What?
and that's just a one-time thing for words, not permanently sorted.
No, it's now permanently sorted. Yeah, sort will permanently sort that list. So if you want to have the sorted one and the unsorted one, oops. So nums is sorted. So let me run this again. So now nums is unsorted. I'll get to your question in a sec, Ezra. What I would do is I would do sorted. Sort nums is nums. Do you guys remember how to make a copy of a list? Right? If you just do you guys remember that you can't just do this, right? Because if you have one list equal another list, they change together. So what you have to do is you have to, and we're going to learn a little bit more about this today, splice it. So now nums and sort nums, they're the same, but if I go sort nums.sort, they're still different. Because for whatever reason with lists, they have the same reference ID, and we're going to learn about that in just a few minutes. But it's not super important to know that right now. Okay. Last method that we'll probably use is reverse. Reverse just reverses everything. It doesn't sort. It takes what was last and makes it first, and that's it. You know, does that all the way through. So if we do nums.reverse, it's not the same as if we do sort and then reverse is true. Notice we have 961, so this is the original nums. This is the reversed nums. So we have 918 here, then 918, 725, 725, 439, 439, 926, 926, 859, 859, 110, 110, 21, 21, 289, 289, 348, 348, 961, 961. Does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions on what these do? Okay. That's a project. Okay. So that's it for methods. There's a couple things that I want to touch upon that aren't a part of our game. They're just things you need to know about. At best, there'll be a multiple choice question on a test or quiz. So, who knows the difference between the word mutable and immutable? Touche. Mutable means changeable. Immutable is not changeable. So a list, can we change lists?
Yes.
Can we rewrite the index it? Can we, change what's in there? Can we change the length? We can do all of that with lists, right? So lists are mutable. Strings are not. And so I'll show you what I mean by that. If this were a list, right, I could do if I wanted my name to be Jack, all I would have to do is you guys see that? I can just change this first index of the name list. I spelled list wrong, sorry. Make sense? I can change that of my list. If I want to change this into Jack, what would I do? Right? Oops. Seems legit, right? Type error. String object does not support item assignment. What that is saying is I cannot go into the list and change, I can't go into the string and change one thing about it. I cannot change the list or the string. It's not changeable, period. If we get further into the course, we'll go over, you can modify. So I could do something like this, name.upper, and that will capitalize everything, but name is still name. Okay? We'll get that later if we get to it, but for now, you guys can't change strings. Strings are immutable. They are what they are. We can add them together, we can multiply them, we can do those sorts of things, but we're not changing what name is and we're not editing what it is. And I go through all of that to say there is something called a tuple, which I'm sure in your guys' coding you'll see tuple, or what that word will come up, T-U-P-L-E. What it is, it's a non-editable, non-mutable list. So tup is you do it with parentheses, and then otherwise it's just like a list. Except I can never change this. So if I want to say goodbye world, tup bracket 0 is goodbye. Tuple does not support item assignment, meaning I cannot change anything in here. Yes, Ezra.
So it's basically just a string.
You can have. I can have a bunch of stuff in there. So for our game, we use lists for a lot of stuff because we need to change stuff. However, if in your game you think these things should never ever change, but I need to use them like I do lists, you can use them as a tuple. So other than that, right now, that's about all I could think of use for you guys to use. The tuple, you can switch between the two. I'm not really going to go into that because I'm not going to test you on that. It's not useful in our game. Real quick, the way you do it is you type tuple and then you throw a list in here. And now it changes it into a tuple, and I can't change it, but I can also do list, and it changes it into a list. So you can switch between the two whenever you want, but again, that's not used in our game. That's not really going to be used in our game, so I'm not really going to test you on it. Yes, David?
How many methods are there, like, for this?
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And sorts it, reverses everything, remove takes something out, pop randomly selects something and takes it out, insert, index, extend we haven't gone over, count, or clear, or copy. So there's a couple of those we haven't gone over. And the last thing, just because it's in the book and I want you guys to have an idea of it, we've gone over, where'd it go? Oh, we've gone over if you have nums is num, or whatever. If you make one list equal to another, and you change one of them, they both change. Right? It's kind of like x is 6, y is x. So y is equal to 6, and every time we change x, we change y. Right? It doesn't work here. It only is in lists. But like in math, if you have x is y, like this, and x is 19, what would y equal in math?
19 plus 0.
Technically true, yes. Then if we changed x to 100, what would y equal?
100.
Yeah, it stays the same. That's how it is with lists. So if you want to make a copy of a list, you can either do nums is, and I forgot the name of a list, but you could do that, which generates a brand new individual list that's different from the other one, technically with a different reference ID. Or you can import copy. And then you do nums.copy or nums.deep copy. Oopsies. Is it nums.copy that .deep copy? Okay, I screwed something up. What is the book? Import copy. I did that. Copy.copy. Do they not have deep? Oh, because I'm stupid. Sorry. That whole time I was typing and nothing showed up. Equals copy dot deep copy bracket nums. Deep copy is if you have nested lists, so lists inside of lists, deep copy copies them. Copy also copies them, so I'm not 100% sure the difference between copy and deep copy. Just know that if you have a list equals another list, and you change either list, the other one changes. In order to avoid that, you either need to do deep copy or the splicing. Do you guys have questions? Those sorts of questions, which, list 1 is list 2 and you change list 1, what does list 2 equal? Those will probably only be multiple choice questions. So keep that nugget in the back of your mind that if you want to truly duplicate a list, you have to have brackets in the colon for splicing it, or deep copy, not just list 1 equals list 2. Does that make sense? Questions? I know Catherine had her hand up.
Well, I figured it out. Well, I had like y equals x, and then x equals 20, and then y equals 20. And if I change the x, if I change the y amount, x doesn't change much.
Correct. With variables, it doesn't. But if I were to write on the board for math, y is x, x is 10, and then I did a bunch of stuff to x, y would equal whatever x equals, right? Here, that's how it is with lists. If I have list 1 is blank, list 2 is list 1, and I change list 1, that change is reflected in list 2. This was just, yeah, I know this isn't going to work. This is just in math, I was typing as I taught to kind of give you guys a visual representation of the numbers. But you're correct. If you do it, so if x is 20 and x is y, y is still going to be 100. Like, I'm confusing everyone, aren't I? Okay. Let me start over. If you have a list equal 1, 2, 3. I know. Are you guys paying attention? Okay. List 2 equals list 1. List 2 is 1, 2, 3. Okay, do these 3 lines make sense? Now if I do list 1 dot append and I want to add the number 4, nope. List 1 is now 1, 2, 3, 4. List 2 is also 1, 2, 3, 4. Because they are referencing the same object in the computer. So they both, if you guys have the book, it shows you that if I have list 1 is equal to this, list 2 will always equal whatever list 1 is. This doesn't work for numbers, integers, strings. It's only for lists. I'm not 100% sure why. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. I wish I knew. Catherine.
Well, it does work for copies though. Like, list 1 is the original list that we don't want to change, and then list 2 equals list 1. And then after you change list 2, list 1 won't change with it.
Nope. It'll change vice versa. So if I do list 2 dot append 5, list 2 is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. List 1 is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Sure. So if we truly want to have 2 individual lists that start from the same one, you would do list 2 equals list 1 this. Do you guys remember what this means?
It's just like the list.
Doesn't it like it does something to the list? Like something
It does.
Doesn't it shift like 1 over?
It's splicing. Splicing means I'm taking a section of the list. I'm cutting out a slice.
Oh, the first one is the first.
But isn't
The first index in the beginning and then the end. So basically.
Yes.
The end of the list.
Yes, this first number here is the index where we're going to start, and this one is the index where it's going to end. Technically one after the one it ends. So if we don't have anything at the beginning or the end, the computer defaults to the beginning of the string and the end of the string. So now we have list 1 and list 1 and list 2, they're the same. But with list 1 dot append 6, they're now different because I have created 2 separate lists as opposed to having 2 separate variables reference the same list. I know I did go over this a week or so ago, so this shouldn't be brand new information. You may have forgotten it, that's different. But that's why we're going over it again, because lists are really, really kind of confusing.
I came into this as like, it's just a list, like what, you know, like, what's so special? Or,
You can store a lot of information. Does that,
This much information?
what are you doing over there?
Oh, it was just a running photo.
Okay. Does that make, what questions do you guys have? If you want to copy a list, to store the original and then edit it, you cannot do this. You cannot have list 2 equal list 1. You have to have list 2 as a splice of list 1. Or use copy and deep copy. This way is easier, in my opinion. Again, this will probably be a multiple choice question, which is the best way to duplicate a list. And you'll have to pick between a bunch of different ways. This is the best way. The best way to duplicate a list will always, in this class, be this. Will be to slice it. Yes?
What would be list 2 dot reverse? What about list 2 dot reverse?
And list.
So it doesn't have to be like sort and then reverse.
So reverse, what reverse will do is it doesn't sort it at all. It just takes what's in the back and puts it in the front. The reason it works out right now is because, is this in chronological order? Is this in increasing order? So then no matter what, this is going to be in decreasing order. The difference is, so let's assume you guys are you are all in a list, right? And it's Sonny, Josh, Catherine, Peter, all you guys. Actually, let's just do this. Okay, so this is everyone's name. In no particular, you guys are just in order, right? Whatever order you're sitting in. Oh, Ezra. Technically, but so these are the names of the class. If I do names, so I'm going to make a copy. Just so I have 3 lists that aren't going to be messed with each other. So the original is names, right? This is the original. We're going to keep it that way. If I do names2.sort, the order is alphabetical. So now it's Brendan, Catherine, David, Ezra, Josh D, Josh B, Mikey, Peter, Stockton, Sonny, Zach. Okay? Notice the original, Zach, Sonny, Josh, you know, it's whatever order it's in. So if you do sort, it's alphabetical. If you do names3.reverse, it doesn't alphabetize or anything. It literally just switches the order. So notice with our first list, where was Ezra? You were the very last. Now with names 3, what are you? You're the first. And then Stockton, then Mikey, then David, then Brendan. Ezra, Stockton, Mikey, David, Brendan. So what it does is it just takes what's at the end and puts it at the front. It just switches. It reverses the order, whatever that order is. If your list is already in alphabetical or chronological or increasing order, and you reverse it, it just switches the order. It doesn't sort it at all, it just reverses it.
I think
Yes.
I would do
Can you import something that will like sort it for you in a certain way?
It'll sort it for you what?
Can you import like a, I don't know, whatever you call it, but it's like reverse, but like, I don't know, import something that like organizes it into alphabetical order?
That's what sort does.
Oh, or like anything else.
So look at names. So if we start with this list and we sort it, this is what we get.
Yeah.
B, C, D, E, J, J, M, P, S, S, Z.
Yeah.
So that is alphabetical order.
Can you import anything else for it to like?
Technically, yeah, but it's in the booking, guys. You can. So you're not gonna get to your guys' homework. Doesn't look like. Okay. Okay. So if you sort this, names for bracket. Zach is before everything else. That's because capitalized letters they have a lower ASCII value than uppercase. So if you don't want that to happen, key is it lower? I think it's lower. Key is str.lower. Then what it does is it puts letters together. So instead of having Z at the very front, because Z technically has a lower ASCII value than B, it throws Z's down here. So if you have a list that you need uppercase with uppercases and lower cases and you need it sorted in alphabetical order, you would use this. Again, if this were ever on a test, I would either make a multiple choice question or give you a hint saying use key equals str.lower. But that's not something we're really going to use. Do you guys have questions? Anything at all? Okay, I'm going to save this to your guys's, I'm going to stop recording first.